Folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Sorry it's a little later than normal on getting the video out. Man, I've been busting it all day long out in the field. I have been, and one of the boys, repairing a fence, something I've been needing to do for a while, and we built a pen, an additional pen and shelter for some of the animals, and just the normal stuff that you do kind of on a homestead farm. So I'm a little tired, a little sweaty. If I seem that way, that's exactly what's going on. We've just kind of, and it's hot today. It's like 90 degrees out, which I know some of you are like, oh, that's nothing. It got hot real quick here. Today this is just more talking personal and sharing information. I don't have any nice little news clips and stuff to put up here for you. As all of you probably know, most of you know, I live here in the Missouri Ozarks, right in the midst of farming all around me, way out in the middle of nowhere. Excuse me. And I've, become pretty good friends with a lot of farmers. There are 2 feed stores, not the big box feed stores. We're talking, the local feed store owned by some local guy. The 2 closest to me, I've gotten to know those guys, the owners, really well. And just many other farmers around here, whether through doing business with them or helping them out or just knowing them, okay? And in the last couple of weeks, I have gone out of my way to try to talk to them, go in their businesses, stop by if I see them out working, stop by and talk to them. And I have yet to talk to any of them that has given me any type of positive report or positive opinion of what's going on. For the last couple of years, at least for 2 years ago, we all heard the term frontline workers, right? And of course, that was the nurses and the EMTs and the, nurses' aides and all that kind of stuff. Frontline workers, doctors. Well, right now, the frontline workers are the farmers. They are the ones that are seeing what's happen now. For you and I, when we go to the grocery store, that food that we bought, it was planted months ago, okay? And the investment to plant that food was made months or even years ago. And so you're the end of the road. When you go and you buy that loaf of bread at your grocery store, that's where it stops. It stops with you. Well, the farmers is where it begins, okay? They're the ones that actually are making the investment into the field, into the equipment, taking out the loans to plant stuff, to fertilize things. And they're seeing this happen right now. And every single one that I have spoken with, and I've spoken with numerous, in the last 2 weeks, they all are warning. If there's any group of people in America that are really awake right now to what's going on and how bad it is, it's the farmers. And I've had many of you farmers that are watching email me. Tell me how bad it is. Tell me what you're going through, whether it's shortages or supplies, price increases, how you can't afford to plant, you can't afford to fertilize. Guy that I talked to today, he's a farmer, and he's a hay farmer. And around here, hay is a big business. The hay is produced for local farmers around here, but it's also shipped all over the country. Missouri and the Ozarks produces a lot of hay. He told me that he typically purchases 50 tons of fertilizer to put on his fields for hay. And this year, for the same price that he pays for 50 tons, he was able to purchase 15 tons. He said, I couldn't afford to purchase any more. He said, I did the math. He said, if I purchased any more, I wouldn't make any money. He said, and I'm just going to have to, go with what I got and hope that I produce enough hay to make it profitable. He said, just a few years ago, the 50 tons that he was purchasing cost him half of what the 15 ton costs today. He said, I can't afford it. He said, and every farmer I've spoken with are saying the same thing, whether they're hay farmers, cattle farmers, crop farmers, they're all saying it's outrageous. I went to the local feed store and I purchased some feed items that we use around here for the animals, and the prices went up again. And he told me that his supplier told him that expect the prices to increase probably every time they order. 2 to 3 years ago, our chicken feed was running right at $10 a bag for a 50-pound bag. And it comes actually out of a local feed mill. And so we were paying $10 a bag for chicken feed. Today I paid $16.70 a bag for that chicken feed. And he told me that his supplier told him that it's going up, because he just ordered today. And he said, I'm just letting you know, it's going up again. He said, because they told me when I ordered today, it's going up again. Everything, dog food, cat food, chicken food, sheep food, goat food, pig food, cow food, horse food, every kind of food. It's all going up. And he said it's the farmers are starting to feel that. They're starting to notice it, and they're starting to try to figure out, just how much that they can invest. Because this idea, if you look at your average American farm, you would say, oh, they're worth millions of dollars. No, they have millions of dollars in assets, their land and their equipment and stuff. But most farmers have a lot of debt too. And a lot of farmers, especially big crop farmers, they have to go out and get a loan to plant. And it's a short-term loan at the end of the year. When they harvest and they sell, then they pay that loan off. And what they keep, of course, is their profit. And a lot of them, they just can't do it. They can't do it this year because they've done the math and they've realized that, they're probably not going to make any money. So they're not taking out the big loans. A lot of the banks aren't even loaning anymore. Because they're expecting the farmers to either guarantee water source or to guarantee that, they'll be able to produce enough. The point is, folks, it's going to get bad. Every farmer that I've talked to in the last couple of weeks, I think every one of them, but maybe it's a few haven't, but pretty much all of them have said, you better be gardening this year. You better be making your own food, growing your own food, because it's going to get bad. They've all told me how it's just going to get ridiculous expensive. If you purchase hay for your livestock, I would advise buying it as soon as possible. If you wait till closer to the end of the year, the end of the season to buy it, no telling what you're going to pay for it. The reports that I'm giving you is here locally. But I suspect it's that same way everywhere, because fertilizer prices are high everywhere. In fact, fertilizer prices are just a little bit lower here than the national average. And most things here in the Ozarks are cheaper. So other farmers everywhere, they're all paying this high price. They're not able to do it. And I don't want to sound like this big doomsdayer or trying to terrify people. That's not it. But if the farmers are saying, if you don't believe me, just get on Google and start searching. And the vast majority of the news articles that are kind of warning people about coming food prices and food shortages, they're all interviewing farmers. They're all talking to farmers, and the farmers are saying it. They're telling them, we're not able to produce that much this year. We're not able to produce enough hay. We're not able to produce enough grain. We're not able to. There's too many factors going on between weather and fertilizer and inflation, and then just the drain on the system, because there's so many areas of the world that either aren't producing, or they're not producing as much, or they've put bans on exports, or whatever it is. And so the burden is higher on the American farmer's back right now, and they're trying to tell everyone, we're not able to produce as much. We're just not. Their production numbers are down. They're down across the board. I've mentioned here numerous times how we're producing as a nation. Last year, we planted 20 million less acres of wheat than we did in 2008. 20 million. Joe Biden has added an additional 4 million acres of farmland this year to their conservation, where they don't, they're going to pay farmers or whatever not to plant. An additional 4 million acres. They've upped the ethanol amount in fuel to 15%. It was 10%. It's up to 15%. That is actually a lot of fuel. It takes a lot of corn to make ethanol. And corn is, of course, a huge food product in America. Virtually all livestock feed has some corn in it. And corn is used in one way or another in a large majority of the foods you and I eat and purchase in the store. And yet we're going to put more and more of it in our fuel on a year that the cost of growing it is high. And we're hearing reports from farmers all over saying that they don't expect their harvest to be as good, that they're not planting as much, or they're not able to plant because of the weather. I'm here to tell you, folks, nothing looks good, okay? This isn't me making this stuff up. I mean, I'm talking to the people that are actually out there growing the food that you eat. You know, they're raising the beef that you eat. They're growing the hay that feeds the beef that you eat. They're growing the cows for the dairy that you eat. They're growing the crops that you put on your table. You know, these are the people that are actually growing this stuff, and every single one of them, they're telling me they're worried about it. They're saying it's awful. One guy said, it's at least as bad as it was in 2008. 2007, 2008, that whole crash there. He said, if not worse. He said, it's probably worse. So folks, all I can tell you is you need to be producing food. You need to be stocking up, and you need to be producing food. You need to be growing food like you've never grown before. You know, I mean, just expand as much as possible, because, and then also work on your preservation of the food, and you're preserving it, canning it, dehydrating it, whatever you're doing. But I'm telling you, I'm just getting my information directly from the people that's growing this stuff. And every single one of them are saying it's going to get bad. And every single one of them are saying by this fall, by this winter, it's going to start getting pretty bad. Stock up, folks. But most importantly, get out there and plant. Grow your own food. Because, like I said, these are the new frontline workers, these farmers. And every single one of them are saying it's bad and it's going to get worse. And it's like no one's really listening to them. Don't be one of those people, folks. Get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.